Let's stay with the Indian rupee now, crossing live to India with the Economist Swarup Gupta. He is, to give him his full title, Global Lead Analyst, Financial Services and Head of Sovereign ESG Rating Service at the Economist Intelligence Unit. He joins us live. Morning, Swarup.
Morning, great to be back on the show.
It's good to have you. Lots to discuss this morning. We have got the Trump tariffs. We have got that ratings upgrade by S&P last week. First one nearly 2 decades, but we have to start with yesterday and the announcement by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Significant tax cuts to boost the economy. Just remind us what Prime Minister Modi announced yesterday, and then we'll get into the significance.
So Prime Minister Modi has brought in the much-awaited easing and simplification of GST tax slabs into 2 rates, 18% and 28%. Essentially, it means that the highly complicated GST system will have one slab for normal or regular goods and another one for luxury goods, which includes everything starting from vehicles to any other items designated as such. So that goes a long way towards simplifying the tax regime, reducing compliance costs, easing know your customer pressures, and so on and so forth. So that's a major reform, no doubt about it. At least, when you announce it, it does sound like a major reform.
Yeah, stock market had a nice little bounce yesterday on the back of that, up by 2% over the past few days. And this has been in the works for a few days now, hasn't it? Announced yesterday morning. Praise from business leaders. I'm reading comments, for example, from the chairman of India's Cellular and Electronics Association, who called it an extraordinary reform. Is it that significant, Swarup?
Yes, of course, handset manufacturers will have it good. They will significantly benefit from this, though, caveat here is that a lot of these handsets are actually only assembled in India from components that are brought in from various parts of the world. There's no doubt that this is a significant reform, and this might go a long way towards, delivering a boost to the economy, but it's very difficult to determine the ultimate impact, because it all depends on whether these price gains, these cost gains are passed on to consumers. So, for example, for the insurance sector, there are significant input benefits which insurers get by claiming GST drawbacks. Now, that would all disappear with that lower rate because all of these incentives would then be removed, which means that these the benefit of GST drawbacks would then be passed on to the consumer as higher prices. Of course, there will be wider consultation with industry, and many of these will be tweaked according to specific sectors. So, but at this point, it's difficult to determine unless one sees actual activity on the ground from lower prices by, for example, white goods manufacturers. So yes, it's a great announcement. It immediately benefits certain sectors like mobile handset manufacturers. But the composite ultimate effect on the ground depends on, number one, wider consultations, and number two, price decreases that are passed on as benefits to the customers.
Let's look more broadly at the Indian economy. A little over a year into the third term of Narendra Modi, he won the election, June of 2024. We had this upgrade last week from S&P, Standard & Poor's, of India's credit rating. First time S&P's upgraded India's credit rating for nearly 2 decades. What did you make of that?
Well, India has been, badgering on and on about these credit ratings. They've been literally range-bound for a long, long time, despite excellent fiscal balance, amazing foreign currency reserves, and so on. And often, many of its policymakers have pointed at the non-financial considerations, such as ESG and sustainability, which are often, in their words, used to keep capital costs high and these ratings in check. They don't rise to where they go. This is no doubt a significant move and could lower the cost of borrowing for the Indian government. But at the same time, the Indian economy has many underlying problems which remain unresolved. Private investment has refused to pick up. A lot of the growth still comes from public investment. And at the same time, urban demand has become a bit sluggish. At this point, the economy ultimately depends on resilient rural demand and private consumption, which is likely to pick up if even minor gains are passed on by these GST cuts.
How worried are you about the spat with Donald Trump and the Trump tariffs, potentially 55% on Indian exports to the United States?
Fortunately or unfortunately, I would say unfortunately, exports make up a very small basket. India is almost insular in those terms. And this definitely affects the prospects of manufacturers, especially handicrafts, gem and jewelry, and so on and so forth, which are looking to export or raise their exports to the US. But at the same time, it doesn't make much of an impact in terms of India's economic state. So it's something that's undesirable, but is likely to have a major impact even in the short run.
What about the cost of imports into India? Of course, what Donald Trump wants is for India to reduce the tariffs, the levies it charges on imports. And some of them are quite punchy, whether it's Mercedes or Cadillac cars, Harley Davidson bikes, other products from Tennessee, whatever it may be. Any prospect of those coming down?
Ultimately, the sticking point for the trade talks, as far as our information is concerned, or what we've picked up, was dairy products and agriculture. That is an absolute soft underbelly for any Indian politician. Definitely, Mr. Modi or anyone in the opposition, even if they were in power, would not be able to, or willing to, or even if they were willing, not be able to reduce entry barriers into those markets. Yes, luxury goods might go up a bit. But India has a burgeoning middle class and a very quickly emerging affluent class. And while it could affect demand for some of these products in the short run, again, these are highly inelastic items. And if you want a Mercedes or a Rolls Royce, you will get one, even if it costs 5 or 10% more.
Yes, first world problems. A couple of final questions. We're running out of time very quickly. Kotak, the Indian financial services company, getting a license to sell funds in Dubai and the UAE yesterday. Quick take on that. Another piece of the jigsaw of trade between the UAE and India rising, as I see it. But what's your take?
That's a significant development. And that also points out to the importance and the growing importance of Dubai as a financial hub. It's tried to reposition itself as a financial hub from, say, conventional financial hubs such as Bahrain. I've had opportunity to visit across, the kingdom, as well as Bahrain, Oman, and Dubai. And definitely now Dubai is the preeminent financial hub. The entry of Kotak and then maybe other such offerings will only bolster the position of Dubai as a diversified hub for investments and finance.
Swarup, we're the business breakfast, so we have to talk about all these things. I've got to say, the real thing that we're interested in is the Indian cricket team coming here in about 10 days' time for the Asian Cup. Will he be watching? Will he be coming over here?
I certainly would like to come over here, but this is a very tough part of the year for business. We are launching a lot of new products. We've just rebranded the EIU Sovereign ESG ratings as a sustainability index, and we are launching a climate hub. But whether I'm there or not, my eyes will be peeled. We have very large television screens within our offices in The Economist, so we will be watching even if we can't be there in person. Though would love to go down there very soon.
Swarup, good talk to you. Appreciate your time. Swarup Gupta there of the Economist Intelligence Group, joining us from just outside Delhi.